Obviously, the V8 in the Ford Mustang is the most desirable engine option, but Ford's 2.3-liter EcoBoost turbo has come so far in both power and efficiency that you gotta kind of consider this as an option, especially if you're looking to save a little bit of money. So what sort of fuel economy can you expect if you're using this one to cruise on the highway? Well, today we find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and tonight we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2025 Ford Mustang EcoBoost. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a realistic fuel economy number for this pony car. But before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Now, this is the convertible of the Mustang EcoBoost, but the EPA doesn't give any separate ratings for the convertible or the coupe for fuel economy. So theoretically speaking, you should see about the same, provided you're cruising with the top up. Now, convertibles with the top down are not quite as fuel efficient, so all bets are off at that point. But we have tested the GT, the 5-liter, with the 6-speed manual. You cannot get the manual with the EcoBoost. In fact, you can't even get any sort of manual shifting in the EcoBoost for this generation. So that's a bit disappointing. But overall, there is a lot I like about the convertible Mustang here. So check the link below, see our full pros and cons review, and our 12-speaker sound system breakdown. You can also find our GT review in there as well. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this EcoBoost Mustang 33 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who do extended driving on the highway and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, I'm going to head over to the gas station here at night when there's less traffic. I'm going to fill it up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for the test. Outside temperature will be down around 60 degrees or so. Our tire pressure is going to be set at their door placard 36 psi cold, and I'm going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. This one's got the performance package as well, but that doesn't seem to have much of an effect on the fuel economy, at least according to the EPA numbers. So, without any further ado, a phrase that apparently only gets used on YouTube, let's head to the pump. Here we are, all fueled up, put in just over 3 gallons into the tank. And before actually starting the engine, we're going to reset everything here. We're going to make sure we're in the proper mode. Yep, okay, we can go right through. It's normal mode. Let's get the GPS reset. Let's get our trip computer reset, fuel economy, and we are ready to begin. Now you saw me going through a few of the different drive modes there. Here in the Mustang EcoBoost, we have Custom, Normal, Sport, Track, Drag Strip, and Slippery. We will be doing this test in Normal. We're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway. It's about half a mile away, and pick up the test from there. Now I will say, this car has some pretty darn comfortable seats, and suspension is a little firm without being aggressive over these bumps, so it's kind of nice. You know what is aggressive though is the exhaust on this performance pack. I often find myself driving it around in quiet exhaust mode because it's just a little less obnoxious. Now, the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this car, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're getting up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace, and we're going to set the cruise control to a GPS-indicated 71 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. No problem getting up to speed. Nice wave of torque coming from that little Turbo 4. I've got the retro gauges on right now, which interestingly doesn't give you the option for a digital speed even in the center, from what I've found. I'll have to play around with that and see if maybe there's a way to get that up, but we can do the other gauge cluster and see what our digital speed go. We got 71 on the dash. Oh, only giving us 70 on the GPS. So we're actually reading one high. That's interesting. So we're going to set in at 72 on the GPS, or 72 on the dash, giving us 71 on the GPS. Oh, what did that do? Oh, that's a button to... Huh, that's weird. To set the cruise control at the speed limit. Yeah, I don't want that. Nobody does the speed limit in California. Anyway, I was looking for this lane keeping system. There we go. Test out the lane keeping system throughout the drive. Initial highway impressions, actually, surprisingly quiet in here. I'm gonna kind of see once I've done more of the road and more of the different parts of highway, but it's not too bad. So we're going to continue on with the test and catch up with you at the end, test out this B&O sound system with some members only tracks, and I'm going to switch over to maybe to the Fox body gauges. There we go. I quite like that. I know it's a bit gimmicky, but I think it's pretty cool. You know what I also really like is the SVT Cobra gauges here. Yes. Very, very fun. So we're going to continue on with the test and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Mustang 2.3 EcoBoost convertible. This is actually a better experience than I expected it to be. I thought this was just going to be a little loud, a little crashy, poor sound system, uncomfortable. No, this is a nice place to be. These seats got a good amount of adjustability. They're pretty comfortable, pretty squishy. Good amount of adjustability around the cabin. Sound system's fun. It's not fantastic. It's not an audiophile system by any means, but it bumps. We're getting pretty darn good fuel economy, 33.8 right now. That's technically within a margin of error of EPA. It's actually a little bit above, depending on what we actually calculate at the pump. The active lane keeping has worked really well. The steering wheel, you can have your hand on it and it can still pop up and say keep your hands on the wheel, so that's a little bit annoying. You gotta really torque it. It's kind of a simpler system in that way. But yeah, adaptive cruise has worked well. Climate control has worked well. I'm fairly impressed, I gotta say. In terms of the tack shot, we're just a hair under 2,000 RPM. Actually, a little bit more than that. We're probably close to about 1,800 RPM, cruising at 71 miles per hour. Yeah, I'm gonna get this back to the pump, fill it up, crunch our final numbers, but I'm not mad here with the Mustang. Not to mention, you got the fun ambient lights, you got the different gauge clusters. Oh, there is just one thing though. The center console is hard plastic here, and then a soft kind of leathery material for the pop-up lid, but the pop-up lid is too far back. So if I'm just resting my arm to hold the steering wheel here, my elbow is pressing right on the edge of the console lid, so it's particularly uncomfortable. So that could be redesigned a bit. But other than that, it's a cool place to be. All fueled up. Last night we ended up putting in a total of 2.926 gallons here into the Mustang. 2.926. So 100.3 traveled divided by 2.926 is giving us, okay, just a little bit, really actually coming out to about the same, because we were, what, 33.8, I think I said, when we were coming up the highway. So 34 miles per gallon here in the Mustang 2.3 liter EcoBoost convertible. And like I said, I bet you with a little bit less weight, a little bit more streamlined, that coupe, you might be squeezing out something closer to 35. Pretty good figure considering the GT was quite a bit lower at 25. So nearly 10 miles per gallon better here with the inline 4. Ford's giving you a healthy 16-gallon fuel tank on the Mustang, so 16 gallons times that 34 mile per gallon figure means you can do about 540 miles cruising at 70 miles per hour here in the Mustang EcoBoost. Pretty darn good. Good for road trips, also good for performance driving if you choose to do that, so that you can suck down more fuel and not have to get gas right away. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you found that useful. That little coupe here, technically convertible, but two-door with a little motor, gets fairly decent fuel economy even with some stickier tires. If you do want to see more on the Mustang, check the link below for our full pros and cons review, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.